Hey guys, me Rodney at Rusty Relics. Today we're going to be working on this 1920s lamp. We need to replace the cord because it's shot. And the last thing you want to do is have a fancy 1920s lamp sitting in your house electrocuting you every time you turn the button on. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so we're going to start by disassembling the top. That's pretty simple. You're just going to unscrew this piece. Alright, we got that loose. Now we're going to start unscrewing this. These older designs, they come apart in a bunch of different ways. And I'm probably going to start fast forwarding through the video and then doing a voiceover so you don't have to sit through the boring stuff. Alright guys, so what we're trying to do here is remove the upper portion by unscrewing it from the top. What I wanted to try to do was break the wires at the bottom by twisting it while I unscrewed it from the threaded rod, but that didn't happen. You'll see here in just a second. If I would have kept on, it would have, based on what you're going to see at the bottom. That's not good, guys. They put electrical tape all over this. Not only is this a cloth corded braid, it's highly dangerous. I'm glad that we didn't plug this one in. And here we have some really old flathead screws that you have to remove first to be able to get this ceramic fixture loose from the base plate. Always be careful when you're working with this old stuff because you never know what it's going to have in it. Some of these old wires can be asbestos. I don't think that's what this is because this is some kind of vinyl. Always try to be careful when you're messing with this stuff. You don't want to break anything. Take your time. Work slowly. This is all sped up footage, so you know it is what it is. Just be careful when you're working on this old stuff so you don't break anything. Alright, so right here the fun part begins. I'm going to put on some gloves because I don't want to be messing with all this stuff without wearing gloves. Don't like for my hands to get any of that dirty film from where the wire gets burnt as it cooks inside there, since it was the wrong size wire leading up into it. It turned out it looked like it had been replaced one time before, that section that leads up through the pole, but they didn't bother to replace the cord underneath because it was, I guess they were worried about fitting it through the grommet. But I went ahead, I didn't have wire cutters on me, they were actually still at the store. So what I used was some Klein cable cutters for cutting Cat 6 cable. And here you'll see that I threaded, what I did was I twisted two wires together so they would be able to thread through there pretty easily, and then shove through the threaded rod itself, and then you just keep feeding the wire through until it gets to the other end. You'll see I'll go check, I'll pull some more, feed it through, go check again. You see it's pretty simple, easy process. Just make sure that you use the grommet. If you don't have a grommet, go get one from your local hardware store. They'll have one, and you just take the size you got. Right here I'm unscrewing it, and then I'm going to twist some little loops here because you want to make sure that you pinch your form your hooks. It's easier to do if you got a pair of needle nose pliers. I used my fingers. Make sure you put you don't want to do what I did there. I messed up. So take it off, put that back, put your fixture piece back on. Now we got to flip it back down because I didn't take the time to double check what I was doing before I did it. So always take your time. Remember the order that we took it off and put it back in that same order. Anyways, what I was saying about the loops is you want to make sure when you screw them in that your insulation gets caught underneath the screw as well as the wire. That way it can't be tugged back out very easily. And you'll see that I do some modification because the piece of cardboard is going to break when I start putting it back in. I made a huge mistake right there by go ahead and screwing everything in, because those fixtures are a pain in the tail to get back in without the base being on it. It's pretty easy to get this done. If you're uncomfortable working with this kind of stuff, don't do it. Just hire a professional. In my case, I'm comfortable working on it because I know which side's hot, which side's neutral, coming from the plug to the fixture. You see, I'm holding it with my thumb so I can't get it through. A couple times what I'll do is I'll push the wire back up under the screw if it starts to push out when I'm screwing it in. That's what I had done right there. And here that's going to break, and then I'm going to have to go through and use electrical tape as a way to shore it up, make sure that there's no way the wires can touch metal. You'll see that here in just a second. All in all, this was a pretty fun project. A little aggravating at some times, but you don't see that because the footage is sped up. But if I could work this fast, that would be really awesome. But I can't, and I did get frustrated a few times. Here I cut that first piece a little short, so I'll put a secondary piece on it in just a second. Then I'll put a piece all the way around to keep it wrapped up nice and tight, and then I'll trim the other pieces back out. Alright, right here I take my knife and I trim up the overhang. You see I've wrapped it all the way around to make sure it keeps everything held down. I'm cutting the electrical tape away from the area that the knob goes in so you can be able to turn it on and off. I don't want any of the electrical tape to be able to be seen from the fixture itself. But I also want to make sure I have it everywhere that I need it to be covered up, since we ended up breaking that cardboard piece that protects the wire. Here you'll see I struggle a little bit trying to line up the screw holes. So you want to make sure you line those up when you pull your slack. That's where having a partner comes in real handy at. So when they pull the slack out, you can line the holes up perfectly as it goes down in there. And then you can use your flathead screwdriver and tighten it all up. You won't be able to see me actually complete that because our gimbal dies here in just a second. And then we catch the footage back up. I'm obviously pulling the slack back out of the lamp cord, and I'm making sure the cord's not twisted as it goes back up the shaft. That way there's not going to be any wrapping issues. So if you were to unscrew the base, you ain't got to worry about it messing up the wire. Installing the knob. Now it's time to plug it in, but you'll see in just a second that didn't work out. All right, guys, we're finished working on our light fixture, and I'm pretty happy. The thing I'm not happy about, though, is I forgot that I needed to get an adapter to plug this light bulb in. Checked it with a voltmeter, it's good. If you need an adapter for this style fixture, let's get in here and look at it. It's a big one, see that? And it needs a special adapter for this regular standard light bulb. You can get those bad boys on Amazon for about $5. I'll leave a link in the description. That way, if you guys need to get one for your lights, you know where to get it. Other than that, everything's good with it. I appreciate you guys watching. If you liked what we're doing, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to our channel. We'll be doing neat stuff like fixing lamps and painting and all that good stuff. That's about it for tonight, and y'all have a wonderful night.